Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that we're here in this place, the lands and rules of the Yuri Nation, and also like the knowledge of their past and present elders. It is great to see you all here for our 10th year celebration. It's something that came together rather quickly after we got some special sponsorship from our lady golfers here. And it's made getting together today very special for all of us, I hope. The 10 years that we've been operating, we've had all sorts of things, and we've had so many good things come out of being involved with the Parkinsons support group. We've got a couple of special guests, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Seagold. Thank you very much for coming back in the time today. Obviously you're very busy with the problems at TASA, but Liz, it's very nice you can come along today and join our celebration.
I wouldn't miss Liz.
And next to her in the yellow is the coordinator of Parkinson's support groups at Parkinson's New South Wales, Melanie Browning, and Melanie's flown in this morning just for the day. Now, I'm going to hand the mic over shortly to a very special person, but I want to make mention of a couple of people here who have been involved in this group ever since we started 10 years ago. Sitting next to Jeannie over there is a lovely lady, Sue Nelson, and sitting next to Sue is Naomi Lewis. They were in the official group that we went along and decided to start this group. So Sue's come up from Melbourne, and Naomi's made the effort to come from Cobargo, and it's good to see them here. They are very much a part of this group. Sue's going to say a few words. She wants to tell you about how we got started. While I'm up here and before I run out of things to say, there's a couple of people who have done a lot for this group over the years with very little recognition. Stan and Joan West sitting on, hold your hand up, Stan, up high. Stan and Joan, none of them have Parkinson's disease. They have a friend, Shirley Brown, who lives in Eden. Shirley went to school with Joan West, and they've been best buddies for years. So when we started the group, Stan came along with Joan to help Shirley and her sister who used to bring her, and her husband. And Stan came along to the first meeting. We've been going 10 years, and he has not missed a meeting. He's Mr. Coffee Maker. He sets up the tea and coffee and everything, and he is an absolute rock of what we're all about. Thank you, Stan. I'll ask Sue if she'd like to come up now and say a few words. She's dying to... We had a bit of a meeting yesterday at home, and we were talking about some of the funny things that went on when we first started.
Well, it's lovely to see everybody here, and I think Bob needs to be congratulated before we do anything. He's done a wonderful job keeping this group going, and it's the best group around. Yeah, so my husband was diagnosed in 2007, and the first thing I did was look for information and support. There was nothing down here at all, and I used to take him to Maruya, because that was the closest group to us. That was a 2-hour drive up there, 2 hours for a meeting, and 2 hours home. It was, you know, we had to do it, but it was great. But I kept saying, we've got to have a group down here. And one day at the meeting up there, I met Dennis and Irene Smith, that's right. How could I forget that? And he was down there giving a talk to the group, and he lived in Canberra. And he said, "Oh, you need to talk to my friend Bob in Merimbula. He's got Parkinson's." So we eventually got together with Dennis and Irene and Bob and Jean, and they invited Phil and I to have come down for dinner. So we met them in the RSL club, and we chatted by the bar first, and then we went over to have dinner, and we walked across the dining room, and there's Bob in the front with his wobblies. And Dennis walked rather strangely too. He was a big tall man, but he walked rather strangely. And my husband's walking very stiff. He didn't move much. And I wanted to burst out laughing. I thought, what am I getting myself into? Where are we going from here? But you have to have a laugh about Parkinson's sometimes. Anyway, we got together and we talked to Parkinson's New South Wales. We talked to everybody we could get hold of, and they finally listened to us, and they said, "Oh, well, how about if we have a seminar down there in February?" So we were really pleased, but we had to do all the work. Bob knows everybody in the district, so he was able to make contacts and things like that. Jean and I were the workers. We made posters, and we went to every GP's office in the Bega Valley, any notice board we could find, anywhere, or any shop that would hang a notice in their window. We did everything we could. We ran around like little beavers, we did. But we organised this meeting, and it turned out brilliant, because we had no idea if anyone would come at all. And we had over 50 people turn up in the RSL at Bega. And we had to organise speakers. So obviously some of the Parkinson's New South Wales people, New South Wales people spoke, but we had to find a doctor or a neurologist to talk. We had to find, all sorts of dignitaries. So we were unable to get a neurologist, but we found these two beautiful young medical students who were doing a stint in the valley at the time, and they agreed to come and talk to us. They had an interest in neurology, and they were just brilliant. When they came to the meeting, they walked in. One had a skull under her arm, and the other one had a brain, obviously not real. And they were just fun people, and they talked to us about Parkinson's in terms that we could understand. If we'd had a neurologist, he probably would have talked over our heads. They were so good, so much fun, so interested in what we were doing. They were terrific. So we had other people too talking, and it was just a really nice field meeting, and everyone was interested. And we asked for a show of hands at the end of the meeting, if we start this group that we want to have, how many are interested? And we got about 20 people put their hands up, said we need a group here. So we had already planned this ahead of time. We said, well, we're going to have our first meeting on the first Monday of next month. So we were organised, and it's just gone in leaps and bounds from there. It's been wonderful. None of it would have happened without Bob. He's been the front of this group the whole time. He's organised most things that we've done, and he's a well-known person in the Merimbula district, and he is able to find people to help when we needed help, or advice when we needed advice, and it's been just wonderful to have him as the front of this group, and I think we all should be very proud of him. But I just really want to talk about Bob and say how amazing he's been, how he's kept it together and still dealing with his diagnosis too, but he's just such a wonderful person. I nearly brought you a Superman shirt today, because that's what I think about you, but I thought that might be a bit over the top. I would like to say to the members of the group here, they need to think about being prepared to help Bob a bit more along the way, because he can't keep going forever. He's going to need some help. But I do think it's a great group. I joined a group in Melbourne when we moved there, and it was nothing like this. I mean, nothing like the friendship and the fun we've had. We've done social things. We've been out to lunches. We just had supported each other. We had little groups for the carers where we could talk about our problems and help each other, and that was great. We'd meet over coffee in a cafe in the morning, and they were really good times. But anyway, congratulations, Bob. You've done a wonderful job with this group, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Thanks, Sue. I didn't come here to hear about me, but we're more about all these lovely people who get together every month, discuss their problems, sort out some of their problems, and generally go away feeling good, and that's what it's all about. A couple of people I have remiss. Carleen Ramsey, just show you. Carleen is ladies president of the ladies golf here in Marimba, and they decided they would do various events, raffles, etc. And they decided they were going to donate it to the Parkinsons group, which they did. After it was opening day for the new year. They had a raffle, raised $500 and gave it to us, and that's what we thought we'd put it today on. That's why, Carleen, thank you. It really is, well, yeah, all these people are going to get the benefit of it today, that's great. And then the gentleman sitting up the back, the big tall man, is Ben Smythe. Now Ben is editor of the Vegan News, the Marimba News Weekly and Eden Magnet. And I send off the monthly report, plus anything else that I can find to do with Parkinson's, and Ben's only too happy to publish it for us. And that makes we get more feedback from paper reports than anything we do. And Ben, thanks very much, and I hope you can keep up the good work. Jean just reminded me, Naomi, hold your hand up, Naomi. Naomi was part of our original party that got together, Naomi and her husband Bill. Bill sadly passed on a number of years ago, but Naomi is responsible for this artwork. That's Naomi's work. She used to do book covers and things like that, and she is a real artist, and she did this, and that banner we took up to the Unity Walk in Sydney and walked behind it. We put it up wherever we can, and you'll notice on all your name tags and that, a lot of artwork which she started with, and then it's been taken over by this man over here with his earplugs on. That's Ian Battersby, and Ian is a good friend. He's a good friend to this group because he does solves all my problems when I want to send out something, and Ian, thank you very much. Now I think we'd like our esteemed Deputy Mayor.
Well, first of all, I'd just say I think this is the first time I've been in this room, and it looks absolutely marvellous. And it's great to have the wobbles here too. And I know some of them because they're chalkies like I used to be before I got onto council. So it's great to see them here as well. And also, Bob, it's lovely to hear you introduce all your support group and all the people who've gone out of their way to help you. I'd just like to start by apologising for the Mayor, but thank goodness she was going somewhere else and I could come instead, quite frankly. And I'd also like to acknowledge the original inhabitants of the lands and waters of the Bega Valley Shire, the Yuin people, and their ancestors, both past, present and into the future. And thank you, Bob, also for providing me with some of the background information. It was really interesting reading. As councillors, we are increasingly proud of the number of volunteers we actually have here in the Shire. It's actually the largest number per population of anywhere in Australia. So I think that is amazing. Now, what is Parkinson's disease, for which there is no cause and no cure? But of course, that's only a matter of time. It'll be worked out into the future. And I've got something here that Bob sent me. Most of us think of Parkinson's as a condition that causes the shakes and movement problems, but it is more than that, and in 30% of cases there's no tremor at all. Parkinson's impacts every system in the body. Common issues include tremor, falls, muscle rigidity, slowness of movement, gastrointestinal problems, sleep disturbances, depression and anxiety, sensory changes, speech and swallowing problems, cognitive changes and pain. That's an amazing amount of symptoms that go with this particular disease. And apparently there are 100,000 people live with Parkinson's, the latest research has come up with. And it's also, the prevalence is higher than many cancers, including breast cancer, stomach cancer, liver and pancreatic cancer, lymphoma and leukemia, kidney and bladder, uterine, cervical, ovarian and lung cancer. So it's more prevalent than that. And that is an astounding statistic that I wasn't aware of at all. So, yes, and of course deserving far more publicity and far more acknowledgement by the community at large and by government funding in particular. Bob, your president, was, and I'm sure you know this, was diagnosed with Parkinson's shortly after his 50th birthday. But did this deter his busy life? No way. Even after his wife's cerebral bleed and her admittance to the local nursing home, he knew exercise was essential. Exercise, exercise and more exercise, you said, Bob. And of course it's essential for just about everything we are doing today. And so he continued his beloved golf here and around Australia and around the world. Scotland, Ireland, South Africa, China, New Zealand and Norfolk Island. Did Parkinson's slow Bob down? No way. And last year I was reading an article from the Bega District Newsmen that was a Parkinson's New South Wales education seminar was held in Bega. It was a seminar to manage and live with Parkinson's and manage and live with. And of course this is a testament to all you people here particularly. And is the support group, that's an essential part. And including the socialising. I know that's very important. To me, this group is also about educating the public, particularly the facial expressions. Parkinson's sufferers do not have intellectual problems. And I remember thinking way back, because my uncle Robbie had Parkinson's, that was a bit of a stigma. At this seminar, presentations were given by a neurologist, Dr. Paul Clouston, educator and counsellor, Kirsten Robertson-Gillam, and exercise psychologist, Clara McKinnell. The top of the list was the need for a full-time nurse and ongoing state funding for training, travel, and a contract for this person. I was just talking to my sister before I came in today, and she was very important for looking after people in their homes when they were in the last stages of cancer. And she was employed in that way. And I told her where I was going today, and she said, they need a nurse. They need a nurse who knows her job. So that's exactly what we would like. My uncle Robbie, for example, joined the Coldstream Guards, fought at the Somme and Ypres, and a trench mortar ended up in his trench. He wasn't found for 5 days and his legs were amputated. He then went on to become an accountant, had a special car made and married twice actually. But in his later years he developed Parkinson's disease. So he died at 86, so he had a pretty fair run. And so he was always to me, as a child, the bloke with sticks, wooden legs that were sort of belted onto his waistline, and also a person with the shapes as well. But he was a very special person to the whole family. Just recently, I heard an interview on the ABC by Sharon Crocker. She was a spokesperson for Parkinsons and had Parkinson's herself. She had a mantra, which is, wake up, get up, dress up, front up, never give up. So that was a great mantra, and that was a morning program, so I wrote that down and I thought, that's great. And I believe this really refers to you people and reflects the support group led by Bob McDonald. Today, you wake up, get up, dress up, front up, and never give up. Well done.
Parkinson's New South Wales, Melanie Brown, she's a coordinator for support group, and we had a pivot to do. And Mel was flying down this morning, and she's flying home this afternoon. But I think I'd like to welcome you here, and I hope you have a lovely day with us.
Bob makes me cry nearly every time we talk, so I will pull it together today. Thank you for having me today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think, probably can't tell any other support groups, but I think I've come down here and I've visited you guys the most out of any of the other support groups. So we have 74, we're about to open 2 more next week, all over the state. So you can imagine it's a lot of work, keeping everybody in check and making sure everyone's getting all the services we need. But we're trying. One of the biggest things, as we just heard, is the push for nurses, and that's our mission over the next 5 years, is to support regional nurses in areas like Bega. Not next week, the week after is World Parkinson's Day on April 11th. So hopefully this gets in the paper and we talk about World Parkinson's Day and the awareness gets out there and somebody reads that message and hears that we need a nurse down here. Unfortunately, we're a not-for-profit. We get very limited government funding, less than $1 per person with Parkinson's in New South Wales. So we can't fund the nurses ourselves. So it's up to local government health districts to help us with that, and big donations from very generous people. So we'll see how we go. Today we've been talking lots about volunteers, and every one of you in this room that attends a support group, you're a volunteer, because you're here volunteering your time to support other people with Parkinson's, going through a similar journey to you. And the most amazing thing about this group is you've got so many people that aren't actually connected to the Parkinson's world helping you out. It's amazing. That was an interesting fact that we just heard about Bega having the highest amount of volunteers in Australia. That's something to be proud of. And that's reflected in this support group too. We've got so many people sitting at this table that don't have a spouse or a parent or don't have Parkinson's themselves but are still helping out. So that's quite amazing. 10 years is a big achievement and I'm very glad you're celebrating it. Last year Bob became a bit of a face of Parkinson's New South Wales. We've used him for a few things. We think we need to give him a bit of a break because he was very busy last year. But your story is amazing, Bob, and what you do for the Bega area is also amazing. And so that's why we wanted to highlight Bob. We had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with him because of this, and we've become very good friends. He's a bit of we always talk about Bob from Bega in the office, and he's become a bit famous in our office. So we fight to get down here between I took the reins off Joanne, our CEO. She had a board meeting this afternoon, so she wasn't able to make it, but she sends her apologies for that. And then we invited Bob up to play last year in our charity golf day, which was fantastic because he got to tell his story to a few people, but it was a great day. And hopefully we see you a few more times, that we might come down here and give you a break from flying up to Sydney. So thank you for having me today, and hopefully I get to talk to some of you later in the day and hear some more stories. But I just wanted to also present Bob with a little bit of a certificate to say thank you for what you do for people with Parkinson's in the Bega area for the last 10 years. I think it's amazing. So thanks very much, Bob.
very much appreciated. I have not forgotten somebody. I've deliberately left this to last. But to Jeannie. My partner Jeannie, when I'm a bit stressed or struggling a bit when the Parkinsons are not going too well, after 24 years living with this thing in August, I think I can do for a couple of days off. And this lady, she stands by me through thick and thin, puts up with all the shit that I have sometimes, but we are great together, and she was one of the founders when we started this group, and I'm just delighted that she can be here today to share what's going on.
Well done. Well done, sweetie. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm probably the only person who knows just how much work he's put into this, and it's been extraordinary. I'll just sit back and I'm in wonderland when I see what he's done. It's fantastic, really, really, really lovely. But also I'd like to say that Smith's Furniture also gave us a donation towards today as well of $200. And Beck wasn't able to be here today, so but I just acknowledge that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, darling. I think we'll enjoy lunch now, and we'll get together as a group afterwards and have a few talks. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Shining in the sun.